of At Home With Us. Today we're going to do some strange things. So, as always, I've got two things. The first thing is technology related.
And what failed you this week, Clive?
No, nothing failed me. In social media, there's always these videos that say, wait till the end. And that has become my new irritation, because when you say wait till the end, you automatically heightening expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the things at the end are dumb, and you have to sit through. So what would have been a short 30-second or 10-second thing feels even longer, because you're assuming something better is going to happen, and then it doesn't. So now whenever I see a post that says wait to the end, I just don't watch it, because I'm not going to wait till the end, because you could be selling me a bad product.
So
I'd rather just watch out of interest.
The things that you've been watching have been clickbait?
No, it will be silly things, like it will be a thing of a dog playing and it'll say watch till the end. So it's just people posting and saying, like, or posting somebody else's video and saying this is funny.
I see
Watch
it,
till the end.
I see it. Oh, okay.
And so the second anyone puts their comment in there now, I just ignore it. I'm not going to watch it, because I'm not going to sit till the end and listen to nonsense.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was the one thing. The other thing that was interesting is so for us in South Africa, the way they're releasing the rules for Corona is weird, because you'll get a statement by a minister that will say this, and this is happening. And then there'll be another minister that will make an announcement the next day, and another minister that will make an announcement the next day, or you'll get a news report about an announcement that you didn't see, but it's about something that's suddenly taken effect. So for us, because our car went in for a repair, it was just a very strange setup. So we were expecting the car to only be repaired in the next lockdown, drop down. And then all of a sudden, I think it was on Tuesday last week, a minister didn't come out and say it. A message just came out in this newspaper article that said, on the 12th of March, these places are opening. But they're not even part of this level lockdown. So it's just, the information is very irritating and random at the moment. And I don't know if they don't know, or like if lobbyists are coming in and are irritating them about something, and they're just like, yeah, go do whatever you want. So that's my other little peeve, is that the information is not structured, that you know, because that's what I thought was happening. Every Thursday, there'll be an announcement about the thing that's coming the following Monday. Now they made an announcement about something in the beginning of the week that's going to take effect in the middle of the week.
Well, they did make an announcement that there will be an announcement.
No, that was a separate announcement.
That's good planning.
And then we had this funny thing about, because the president came out and gave a speech. So people were expecting him to say, we're dropping another level. And then the meme that came out afterwards was, when someone calls a meeting for something they could have told you via email. So all he did was call a press conference to thank us, and things are going to continue as they are. So that's like a summary of what he called press conference for. So they're like, you could have sent us an email for that.
In a time of COVID, anybody who talks to you is welcome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Speaking of which, I was attempting to do some cleaning. I apparently have a lot of things going on. I was attempting to do some cleaning in the front, because garden services aren't allowed to come around. And when you switch over to garden services, you tend to reduce or not look after the tools that you have, because somebody else is coming to clean up. Now I had to go out and use my tools, and some of the things weren't sharp. But anyway, people are so bored that even when they're jogging and walking around, they're having chats with you in the street while you're cleaning, and they're taking a leisurely walk. And so I think in a weird way, what's happening now is making people more conscious of who's in their neighborhood and who are people, like, because it's not these busy streets with traffic jams in the morning. You're walking by yourself, you see a person by a house, and your brain can actually piece their stuff together, and you're like, ah, this is a person that lives in that house. It's not like you're whizzing past in the morning and you're like, what is that? And nothing happened. So I don't know if that's going to be a positive afterwards, or are people just going to flip the switch to like switching over to this is morning mode
No,
again.
I think when people get busy again, they're just going to go.
I just flip the switch.
Maybe they'll be nicer to cashiers, nicer to petrol attendants. Yeah, but no, I think they'll just go back to being the way they were.
Well, the nice thing about the cashier stuff is they now have, what's that? Screens up for them. So now every cashier is a bank teller. So there's a piece of perspex between you and the cashier. So you must know your place. I don't know who was leaning over and trying to breathe hot air onto the cashiers because we already had the counter. And then they had that signature thing where you're supposed to rest your stuff and sign. So even if you had a checkbook or whatever, you could sign on that. So we were already segregated. But above that now is a screen. So do not lean over and try to get closer to the cashier because you can't. There's a screen to stop you. So I don't know who was trying to breathe halitosis into the cashier's faces.
On the plus side, it doesn't matter if you eat tin fish for lunch now. It's okay.
Wait, what's the
Because it's
best?
like a double protection. You've got a mask on and you've got the screen. Keep the bad breath to yourself.
So it's going to be tin fish, garlic, and other halitosis that cashiers are being saved from.
Yummy.
You had a team meeting, and weren't you the youngest person on the team's meeting? So how did the meeting
Well,
go?
that's not an achievement. Yeah, it took about 40 minutes to get all my colleagues on to the meeting. So
Yeah, technology.
It was an adventure.
Technology challenges.
And people did learn new things today. So I mean, I guess that was good.
Okay.
It was great.
So, what we wanted to discuss was something that we discussed privately, and now we're going to discuss openly, and it's not what you think. We watch lots of DC animated movies, and then there's a whole lot of other funny things that happen. And so in these storylines, but something that got us thinking was when there's a scene in Avengers Endgame where what's his name that pulls the arrows?
Hawkeye.
Where Hawkeye is getting suited up to be sent into the past, and Brody is Brody.
That is War Machine.
But it is Brody.
Mm-hmm.
Brody asks what is now Professor Hulk if we can do this and go back in time. And what's Thanos' daughter's name?
Which one?
Not Gamora, the other one?
Wow. I'm blanking.
Okay, I'll let you.
It's with the N.
Nebula.
Nebula.
Right, so Thanos is a bit of quiz there for you. So Thanos' daughter Nebula is helping Hawkeye put his suit on, this time travel suit, and Scott Lang is standing there, Ant-Man, and War Machine Brody standing there, and they said, if we can go back in time, why don't we just find baby Thanos and
That's like, yeah, but that's like a first question in philosophy 101. It's like, if you could go back in time, would you kill baby Hitler? And then you have a philosophical discussion about the merits or, the bad things about doing that, because
the merits of murder.
well, no, it's just that you can't, even though you know what somebody's become or somebody will you can see from your experience what somebody has become. Any one change in their upbringing or their environment could have taken them on a different path. So you would not be a hero for killing a baby who has not had those experiences that turn them into the person that you know them to be.
Yeah, but if you only had one chance to go back,
Then
you can't nudge them because you can't
do it
narrow down.
when they're in the middle of the night.
So Professor Hulk says to Brody, that's horrible, and that's not how time travel works. So in the Endgame universe, time travel worked that if you travel back in time, wherever you travel to becomes your future, and wherever you travel from is your past. So in that moment, he said that's not how time travel works, and they say, well, that's what every movie about time says, and then they rattle off a whole lot, time after time, Hot Tub Time Machine, Back to the Future, a whole lot of stuff, and then he said that's not how it works.
Butterfly effect.
It works like that. They didn't mention butterfly effect.
I know, but I mean that is the ultimate.
Then
changing the future.
Nebula said, of course, it's that doesn't work. So they're like, oh, so all of that is nonsense. So we were thinking about the different time travel. Firstly, we were thinking about the different time travel movies that we have watched. We know that there's an extensive list of stuff that exists, but obviously we haven't lived long enough to sit through everything and watch everything. And some of us don't have lockdown time where we can sit and watch TV. Some of us have to not have to, some of us are still working, so we don't have all this free time to catch up. So, I'm going to list the name of the movie, and can you give a brief overview of the premise or the plot of the movie?
Okay, and if I don't know, I say pass.
If you don't know, maybe I'll know.
Sometimes you watch movies and I'm asleep.
Alright, so Back to the Future. Any one of them, because they kept going Back to the Future.
Okay, so an old scientist meets a young chap, and the old scientist has developed a time machine in a DeLorean. And
a car, yeah.
Yeah, so then that one works that if you go back to the past, you can change stuff about the future. So they keep going back to the past to change things about the future. Yeah.
Okay. Then Time Cop, I know I watched, but I can't really remember. I know it involved Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I don't know if he traveled to the future or to the past.
I think that one was one where they tried to rectify crimes that happened
previously.
Yes, so
Okay.
They would go back to specific points in time and change things.
Okay, Hot Tub Time Machine was just what's the word?
It's high fun.
What's that movie about?
That movie is about a group of friends. Oh, do you want to know what the premise is, or do you want to know what it's about?
No, I don't want to know what happened. I just want to know.
Okay, so it's about friends that get an opportunity to go back in time and change things about their lives that would have made them, they think they would have made them happier. And so they do, and then when they come to, they're back in the future again, and their lives have changed accordingly.
But they didn't choose to go back in time. It was an
Oh,
accident.
it was an accident. Yeah.
And when they realized what happened, then they took advantage of having gone back in time.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what this movie is about, but do not steal from its parallel. Okay? So what was an overview of About Time?
About Time. Oh, it was a guy who gets infinite chances with a girl that he wants. And he basically has a number of opportunities to get it right with her. So whatever he did wrong the previous time, he'd remember and try and do better the next time. So he makes her fall in love with him.
Sort of like a Groundhog's Day thing?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. The time traveler's wife.
That was about a guy that couldn't, like, I think he had it was like him that he was the time machine. He kept going back. It wasn't something that, I can't remember. But anyway, it's basically like he went through time living bits of his life, not concurrently, with his wife. And she had to learn to love a complex man because he was different every time, I guess.
All the ones that we've gone through previously, a person physically, as they are now, jumps between timelines.
Yeah.
The butterfly effect?
It's a guy who can time travel through his own history.
And what makes him want to travel?
I don't know if it
What's
makes
his
him, but
motivation?
he discovers that he can do it, and so because he can do it, he tries to change things about his life and the people in it to make their lives better or make his life better, but he ends up messing things up,
Okay.
I guess.
Men in Black 3.
I don't remember this. Part.
So, something, Agent K had been wiped, and some incident had happened in the past, and he'd stored, I think, something somewhere that would help bring his memory back. So they needed to go into the past to know where he stored that thing to help restore him. Or he knew something in the past that he couldn't remember now, and so the answer was in the past. Something like that. So then Agent J then traveled into the past.
So what happened in terms of the time effect?
Strangely nothing, because he even got to see himself as a child.
So there's no paradox, nothing.
He stopped. He went back to ensure that the timeline was maintained. What
But
series?
then why do you maintain a timeline unless you can change it?
No, that they needed to maintain it and get information.
Okay.
Because if that other guy succeeded, the future wouldn't happen. Because
So the future could be changed in that one.
yeah, by that guy going into the past. I wanted to say, I don't have it on my list, but there was the series with a whole lot of guys with briefcases and black hats. Not that movie with, what's his name? Not Kevin Bacon, what's the other guy's name? Anyway.
Is it The Travelers or something like that?
Was it Fringe, The Watchers?
Oh yeah, Fringe, yeah. But Fringe was more, it wasn't about time travel so much as it was about parallel universes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the Earths were colliding.
Yeah.
Alright, the Almanac Project.
That was a good movie. Yeah, it was a brilliant movie.
Trailer.
The high school student uncovers something from his dad's work that he didn't know about. Turns out it was the blueprints for Time Machine. Oh, we are going to say these. I've got major spoilers. Hey? Yeah. Okay. And then he builds it because he's like super brilliant. And
Then he's got to live, him and his buddies have to live with the effects of what they're doing.
so they change stuff, it changes the future.
Okay.
There you go.
So that one changed stuff, changed the future. Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
That was what it was. We had the timelines and the stones.
that one was interesting because that didn't eradicate the future, it created an alternate timeline. So what they were saying was that it doesn't change this line from past to present. It would just make a new line and branch off.
No, she said
Changes.
when this thing doesn't exist yet, it puts my timeline in trouble,
Yeah.
but your timeline will be okay. So he said, I'm going to bring it back and restore it in that moment in time, so everything's left unchanged. So in their world, their decision didn't have a ripple effect
Yes.
because they traveled into the
Because-
past, which was
because
their
the past
future,
was their future.
and then they traveled into the future, which
Yeah.
was their future, and then
Yeah.
It was always traveling into the future, so they never upset the
I
past.
guess this has it's all based on the premise that an individual's past, present, and future is separate to the collective conscious past, present, and future.
We'll get back to that. In the DC realm, there's Flashpoint. It's a thing where the Flash, which is the fastest man alive, runs back in time to change something that happened in his past, and he creates an alternate timeline. So that's another interesting one. TV series and movie, 12 Monkeys. I actually can't remember what the premise of 12 Monkeys was.
12 Monkeys was that they were trying to save the world as they knew it because there were apocalyptic events brought on by
something that happened.
Yeah.
And they were trying to go, I know in the TV series they were going back in time to pinpoint when they were trying to pinpoint, firstly, they established that they could do time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were trying to pinpoint the event that caused the time travel because they were guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kept sending this guy back to narrow down the list of what the trigger was that caused this apocalyptic event.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know which moment in time to go back to change things.
Mm.
So they kept hopping all over the place and following leads in the
That
past
was
and the
a
future.
very confusing TV series, but very good, and you couldn't miss an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overview of Outlander.
Oh, Outlander. It's like my guilty pleasure. It's super silly, but basically time travel is made possible by mythical stones like Stonehenge.
Like Stonehenge or Stonehenge?
No, not like Stonehenge. There's lots of those types of
Just call them relics.
Yeah, like those configurations across the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So in this story, they use that, and it's based on folklore and legend, and only some people have the ability to touch the stones and travel through time.
Is it bloodline related? Or?
No, it's just random, but
okay.
Yeah, so, but there is a way apparently for other people to get there. It's through sacrifice and gemstones. But anyway, so
okay.
Yeah, that was really interesting. But that again doesn't change. I think some people were trying to use it to change the future, but it didn't really change the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. Obviously, there's the Flash, the movie, and then Flash, the TV series. Stargate. All I can remember is the guy that played the part of MacGyver was in Stargate. What's Stargate about?
I can't remember. I was so little.
They kept going
but
through it for
I
what
really
reason?
enjoyed it for whatever reason. It was great.
I think about it. A series where it didn't happen. Well, like they didn't solve anything was Terra Nova.
Oh yeah.
They went to the past to say that they're settling there, but they were actually trying to go to the past to get minerals that didn't exist in the future.
They mine them all away.
And then.
So they tried to.
And then they could get the money
the
from
resources of the planet.
out of the planet in the past to push it through to the future.
Yeah.
So that was a
but
little.
that was cancelled after one season.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That one was short-lived. Another series which you may not know actually had time travel in it was Game of Thrones, but that had like a butterfly effect type time travel.
Yeah.
Where the consciousness.
Brenner.
Yeah. The what was it called? The one-eyed raven, three-eyed raven.
Yeah, the three-eyed raven.
Had the power to travel
through his own consciousness, and no, actually,
yes.
he had, but not physically. So he could observe anything throughout history. So he could time travel mentally, but it was only the one instance where actually I'm not sure now because he caused Hodor.
No, he caused the Hodor incident.
Yeah.
Because the guy said you mustn't stay too long.
So he could influence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they left the door open because us who don't read the books, for the possibility that the other red-eyed raven went back and caused that king to be stuck on burn them all, burn them all, burn them all, burn them all.
Ooh.
Made him mad. And that's how come he did it.
Yeah.
And that's why he was so upset with Brenner.
Oh, wow.
And then obviously the other CW series is Legends of Tomorrow. and they're time traveling non-stop. So
What happens in that one? Can they change the future?
yeah, that's the whole purpose. They're going.
Oh, so they're like time cops.
Yes.
Like a.
Yeah, they're like a TV series of what Jean-Claude Van Damme did.
Ah, okay.
Because they're trying to. There's this guy, I can't remember his name. He's in one of the Justice League animated things. He's this very old guy. He's sort of an immortal.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in their one, he's an immortal that is jumping through time.
Mm-hmm.
And because he knows, because he lived through everything, he wants to jump through time to influence all of history.
Okay.
So he lived long enough to experience a lot of history, and now now that time travel exists,
Mm-hmm.
he's going back in time, and he is fiddling all over the place. So at every mass battle and all these things that happened in history,
Mm-hmm.
you now see him there.
Oh.
Because he went back and he knew outcomes and that, so he was getting involved. Now they're busy chasing him through time, sort of.
Oh, okay.
That was how it started. I don't know where it is now. I only watched the crossovers. One last one. My favorite topic. The hashtag, the Snyder Cut. So Zack Snyder had a theory which he couldn't put into a movie because they told him it was too dark, so he had to throw out the script. But his theory was that part of the mechanics of time travel is when you jumped into the past, you only had two spots you could jump to because of the Earth's rotation around the sun.
Oh, yes.
So if you jumped into the wrong slot, you jump into nothing and there wouldn't be a planet there because the Earth would still be making its way around, and so you'd go into nothingness. And then in your other one, if you jumped, depending on, so the date and time is very important because of the rotation of the planet. You can't even jump you can't jump even at the same day. You have to jump at the correct hour, minute and second that the incident happened, so that you could be on that piece of land at that time in that moment. Because of the Earth's rotation and position, you won't land on the Earth or you won't land in the same place.
So his one had a geographical tie-in.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So that's the only other...
Yeah, that's amazing because whenever anybody jumps, they can go anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
And they just land in that place.
It's more logical that if you're going to, like, if time consists of strands and they're linear strands,
yeah,
you'd only be able to jump through that tube and you would land at the end of that piece of the straw. Interesting. Okay.
So what are your thoughts on time travel?
My thoughts on time travel are that it has to be possible. We just haven't figured out, or maybe we have, but general population hasn't been exposed to the technology to make it happen. I think it has to be possible because it's just another element of physics.
Okay. If you could go back in time, what ripple effect or what outlook do you have on how time travel works, and how will that influence what you did when you went back?
See,
so what's your belief about how it works, and then based on that, what would you do or not do when you went back?
Okay, so I'm not sure what exactly I believe. I have two theories. One.
You can't have two theories.
One is.
Okay, no, you can't have two theories. Have what theory do you hold higher than the other? Just say that one.
Calm down. Okay. Right. So either you jump back in time and you change things, which means that you, as you know yourself now, would have to cease to exist in some way, shape, or form. So if I go back in my life and I change something about myself and that changes the way my life has turned out today, I today would cease to exist. So I would have memories that would
You're not saying which one. You can't play the. You mustn't play either side. You must say that this is the one that I think is most logical,
Okay.
and this is the one I want to do.
I'm getting there. This way. Okay. So either that, or.
No, you can't. Okay.
Oh my
Right.
goodness! Just let me talk. Jeez. Or you would have to believe in parallel universes, basically. In which case, every time you jump back, and you create a different future outcome, it's just creating an alternate timeline, which exists in its own universal state. I personally believe that if...
Finally.
Okay.
You've time to hit your bets.
Oh, this man. I believe that if time travel was possible, we could influence future events and then change the way time appears in the future. So the second question you asked was, what would I change?
Yes.
I would change nothing.
Okay. Because you wouldn't change anything because you believe that there's the ripple effect that will change who you are now.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on that, if you could go back and nothing would change as you have it now, how would that influence what you do in your time travel?
I think every human being would just like to set themselves up with more resources. So
No, that's other people. I'm talking about you. What
Yeah.
would Melissa do?
yeah, I'd be so generous if I was more rich.
Okay. This is a thought experiment. So to continue with your thought experiment of parallel timelines and that, I'm of the opinion, from a practical standpoint, I do enjoy the DC stories, parallel Earths, and the decisions making the ripple effect. Practical Clive is of the opinion that because of opportunity cost, whenever we take a decision,
What's opportunity cost?
the cost of the alternative. So we balance out the cost of the alternative decision, and based on that we decide, okay, we can take this decision because whatever we value or feel is important at that time, in that moment, we take a decision based on weighing those things
cost
up.
benefit analysis.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all. So every decision has an opportunity cost.
Okay.
So I think that what happens is, because we have the thought, if something doesn't exist, there's no seed for it to grow. So I think that the concept of parallel Earths and the feeling that it is a possibility comes from the fact that we have all these opportunity costs where we take decisions. And when our brain is reconciling things at night, even though we believe that we took the best decision now, our brain plays out what could have happened had we taken the other decision.
They're called dreams, Clive.
Right? Because it needs to, if the brain doesn't reconcile or finish up their thought and give it an endpoint,
Then you can't come to peace with your decision.
yes. So even if we don't do it, or if we consciously do it in the moment, we're
engineered to work through.
So I think that all the additional space in our brains
So RAM.
is because technically our brains have created multiple Earths within themselves, because there's multiple strands within our minds. So
yeah.
because I believe that time travel is very difficult, because when you've mapped that giant piece of your brain that now has all these parallel realities mentally, of possibilities, things not chosen and whatever, unless you have a very clear and resolute outlook on what it is you want to do when you travel backwards, you actually travel to one of those decisions.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is branching to what your mind already knows exists. But the way it's portrayed in movies is you're going back and you're taking a decision and you don't know what the outcome is.
Yeah, because you have no idea of reconciling the ripple effect.
Right, but your brain has already done that.
Yeah, but you didn't do it. Your
Yes.
brain did it.
So what we're doing if we time travel, all we're doing is playing with different options that we already know happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're deciding to pull a different string on the spider's web. And we're causing a vibration in different direction, but it's still part of us and it's still part of the spider's web.
Yeah.
So I don't think time travel alters reality.
Mm-hmm.
I think that time travel fulfills stuff that we already know,
Okay.
but we haven't lived through the responsibility for.
Okay.
So we only have one layer. When we time travel, we connect to things that we know about but haven't experienced.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's almost like living out a thought experiment.
Yeah.
But you cannot, when you travel, you can play through those things, but there's no effect on the future. Because when you travel back, you're going to travel along the same thread, even though you've explored all these others.
Yeah, so you
They're
don't
all just
believe-
thought experiments that you
don't
can
believe
go.
that it would have any bearing on the future.
Correct, because when you travel back, you're just going to travel back the way you came.
So basically what you're proposing is just astral projection to alternate timelines in your own universe.
So I think that it would be brilliant to make a time travel movie that actually, in the future,
Mm-hmm.
sort of a matrix thing,
Mm-hmm.
all time travel exists within people's minds. So you are able to travel back and explore other possibilities.
But then you wake
But
up
if
and
you are woken up, you're going to be back where you started.
it's like a punch then.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
in a way. So you can go in there, explore what you want, experience those different things, but the second you wake up, it's like a bungee cord, you'll be snapped back to exactly where you are now. So you can feel like you lived that dream.
Oh, so like Total Recall. That's what like.
In a way, yes, but it's not the same thing, but yeah. So you always this, you can go and experience other things. Those things won't have that great an impact, it will all just be a dream
Mm-hmm.
because it will crystallize what your brain has already played with
Mm-hmm.
mentally.
Mm.
So that's
So
my,
it can't really introduce new stimuli. It's just.
it will
what
just
you already
enhance
know.
it and it will feel like a real dream to you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was amazing, I went there, experienced those things, I smelled those things because you actually did,
So
but you only did it.
there are movies that deal with that kind of premise, like Vanilla Sky and Total Recall.
Yeah, but it's not.
Traveling within your own conscious.
Yes, but it's not time travel.
No, it's not time travel. So, but what you're proposing is not time travel.
No, that's what I'm saying time travel is.
You're traveling to your own past. In your.
No, you're
preposition.
traveling to different splits in your decision making in your past.
Yeah, but it's still yours.
You play it out
So what
and it's just a
happens-
dream.
Okay, but what happens when you want to time travel and affect realities of previous generations?
You can't.
In your premise.
You can't.
Okay.
So
But
you
say
can't
time-
affect anyone else's reality.
Say time travel was a thing that was developed by governments across the world.
No,
And-
you can't now take me into your experiment. I'm saying within mine, I don't believe it would work like it is. It would just be an advanced form of regression.
Okay. So you could use that for therapy.
That's all.
Mm.
You could never actually time travel.
Yeah.
So I think that the other thing that I think the elements that exist in the world that we think are time travel is based on us believing that us right now is the highest point of existence.
Yeah.
And our cockiness makes us believe other things are going on because we don't believe that anyone else or any other thing could have done something better than we've done now.
Mm.
And we've done nothing more than the microchip. We've made it in different sizes, we had different applications, and we're still dancing around the microchip.
Yeah, and burning coal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think that that's my 2 cents is in Clive's world of movie making, time travel will always be a regression and a thought experiment that never influences anyone else, because why should your travel, your narrow-minded, selfish travel have an impact on the entire planet?
Yeah, because like you said earlier, it's a spider's web.
Yeah.
So you can't create a vibration that doesn't ripple across the whole web. So giving someone that kind of power to change history and not being able to map the repercussions of what will happen as a result of that one change, that would be too much. So even if we did discover time travel, it would be too dangerous in our hands. So we just let it go.
That's the one thing that all these, what I'll say, these time travel movies, which are in themselves thought experiments, show, is that everybody who travels through time, whether they're being, philanthropic or others-centered, all take selfish decisions.
Well, yeah, it always evolves the same way. The first thing that they do is they try to change something personal, and then they see it doesn't work, and then eventually they go through the whole personality development arc, and then they do something altruistic afterwards.
Yeah, to try to rectify what they messed up.
Because they see that they're the problem.
Yeah. So yeah, as the song says, if I could turn back time. So yes, so in summary, your thing on time travel is?
Don't do it. Don't do it, kids.
Mine is, it's all in your mind. If you want to travel through time, write a journal entry and go to sleep. You will have some time travel for yourself.
But then, before you close this chapter, what is your opinion on these people on YouTube that claim
That
to
you've
be
been watching?
time travelers? And I mean, what?
I think it's the same thing. If I have a certain recurring dream,
Yeah.
right? And even in the dream state, certain senses are recruited for it. I have this haze of this other thing. And the haze of the other thing, I can choose to impose on this reality or keep it separate.
Okay, so you're saying if it's real to you, it's real.
What I'm saying is, their choice has made them believe they're a time traveler. But what it is stuff that I have deja vu.
I do too, and it's been increasing like tenfold in the past couple of weeks.
What I want to say is, almost all my days are deja vu. And it's not because I've experienced those things before, it's because I, in general, with most actions, think of multiple.
Well, that's your job. That's what you do for money. Anyway,
Right.
that's your
Right.
thing.
So because I do that, I always end up with deja vu.
Yeah.
Because one of those things that I thought are a possibility happened, and it plays out in a way that I sort of predicted it.
Yeah.
So I constantly have it. Doesn't mean I'm a time traveler that jumped forward and then came back, and now I was like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, but what if they did it to us and then we're just replaying things that have already happened to us because we haven't had our story arc changed?
Alright, so let's jump out of time travel and we're going to run time travel parallel with another thought. Right, the Matrix. So if you had to join the Matrix and time travel,
Yeah.
continue from there.
Why do you need time travel when you're in the Matrix? The Matrix is a simulation. You can program any reality you want into it.
You have no
With any-
control over it.
Well, those in power is what I'm saying. Okay, so those two thoughts are completely, you can't talk about them in conjunction.
Right, so you could think that you've experienced stuff
Yeah.
because they program and they reset and they program and they reset and they program and they reset. So almost like a Westworld situation. You have all of these other things that you're now referring to as dreams, which are dreams which I'm saying is unreconciled decisions. But it could be an external influence that allowed you to live through that and then reset the clock. And now you're living through it again. And then reset the clock. And then let you live through it again and then reset the clock. And they just kept doing that to you. Because they're harnessing energy of your body in a bath somewhere. Because human beings are like the best batteries on the planet.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I guess I don't want to know about that then.
So anything that doesn't benefit you is not real.
I don't want to know. Why would you want to know? Why would you want to be miserable?
I just think it's fascinating.
It's not if I'm stuck in the bath somewhere. No.
You're stuck in a bath, there are tubes in you.
Nope. Choose the blue pill.
So I think, for me, I think that time travel is all in your mind. So if you want to do it, and enjoy the trip.
Okay.
No.
I'm feeling a little trippy right now.
Is this real? Have we done this?
Yeah, no, I think you broke me. Yeah.
So Nisa, go ahead, introduce yourself and tell us what has been your least favorite thing that you've discovered about your partner since lockdown commenced.
Hi, my name is Nisa Hope. My friends call me Nisa. I work in the accounts department for a radiography company. I live in Melbourne, Australia. The least favorite thing about my partner during lockdown has been the distance. He's very good at putting his boundaries up, and I like to talk during those working hours, and he doesn't do much of the chit-chat. Whereas when we're home together after work, if we were going into the office, he does that well. But during the day, no, not so much. So I guess I'm working around that. My family and I spend a lot of quality time together. Now that the lockdown is on, we have restrictions placed, so it's not as much as South Africa, but it's phases where businesses are closed and you can't do most things.
So how much quality time are you actually spending with your loved ones now that you're at home together? What do you do together?
What do we like to do together? We love to play games together. We cook together. We have more time together now that I am working from home, and we are both working from home, my husband and I. And Kyra is now homeschooled, my little 8-year-old. So we have more time together. We play games. We cook together. We watch movies together. Every night we're watching a different Marvel movie with my 8-year-old, and she's thoroughly enjoying us being together, doing that. Whereas on normal, nights where we have to come home from work and get all these things prepped, we wouldn't have time to do that. So we have more time together, and that's the one thing that I'm grateful for during this time.
That sounds amazing. It's great to have family time. What are you going to do when you get let out? Do you think social distancing is going to affect it?
The first thing that I'm going to do when this is over is I'm going to do my nails, get my brows done, and I'm going to see my 2 best friends. My one friend loves outdoors and nature. She loves hiking. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go camping with her and her family, my family and hers. I'm going to catch up with my other friend that loves cafes and food and going out and, drinking wine. And we don't have a lot of restrictions with regards to that, but we don't do that often because of, I guess, the cost of doing these things and how you have to plan around doing these things in Australia. So it's a totally different lifestyle. Social distancing to me means that I can't do things that I love, like interacting with people. I get energy from interacting with people. I love to sing in the church choir, and I can't do that now. I'm also restricted from going to the gym, and that has been a wake-up call to me to be able to do things differently from home and go out into nature more. We've got beautiful tracks around the house where we stay. We've got these paths that we can walk along, and we can go down to the oval and kick the ball around, and we've been doing that more often now, so it's changed the way I plan those things.
Yeah, that kind of sucks for us too. We also miss band and gym enormously. So what's your number one tip for surviving the lockdown?
Our number one survival tip is during lockdown is, I think, know yourself. Know the things that you like. Make time for yourself, because you're stuck in the house with whoever it may be. Heaven forbid if you're alone. But when you are in the house with the family, you have to know what you like and make time to do those things that you like, because in normal occasions you'd be doing that anyway, and now you don't, so make the time for that.
Cool. So if you had been given time to plan, would you have done anything differently?
Given time to plan, what would I have done differently? I would have gotten more family games. Kyra loves playing with us, and seeing how we interact together as a family is amazing. We laugh a lot more together as a family doing these things. We learn a lot more about each other's personalities. We think we know each other, but having to do this in the small space during this time and over this period of time has allowed us to really get under each other's skin, really bother each other to the point where we have to solve our issues. Whereas you could just get up the next day, go to work, and come back and kind of forget about what that is. You are in a space now where you have to get to the next phase of whatever's going on. And that's been good for me. That's been really good for me. So if I had known that this was going to happen, I would have definitely planned extending my family sooner. It would have been great company for Kyra to have another little sibling, and she would have, been happy with that. She's on her own with us, so 2 adults in the home sometimes is no fun. I would have bought toilet paper sooner, because in Australia, as you know, that was crazy, but thankfully we worked it out, so we were not struggling for that. I would have bought more games. Kyra loves playing games, so I would have done that.
Awesome. Thanks, Nisa. Speaking of games.
Okay, so
30 seconds, guys. Remember that Clive had 3 last time and I had 4.
right. So we have a timer ticking up there on that screen. So when it reaches 0, we'll start. So you want blue or yellow?
Yellow.
Yellow, okay. Okay, go. Favorite phones of all time?
Nokia?
Right. Our airport here close to us the main airport in and out of South Africa.
OR Tambo International.
Yeah. Favorite a comic that draws these caricatures of people.
Shapiro?
And the wife of Michael Jackson.
Elisa Marie Presley.
Right.
2 seconds.
Okay, so you got 4 right, and I couldn't ask you this one because I don't even know what it is.
Which one?
The third one.
The NSRI.
So you can see that I'm not lying. There are the answers.
Okay, Clive. Who's the winner?
Apparently I'm an excellent question asker.
Yes, you're an excellent question asker. Oh, well done. So
how would you define a winner?
That's what I'm saying. The only winner here is you. Subscriber number 100. We're looking for you.
Yes, your YouTube needs you, not your country.
And what will you be winning? We are not going to tell you until the very, very end. But it'll be good.
Yeah, just remember that I've got lots of comic book stuff that I collect, art stuff, other movie stuff, so
Yeah, it's probably going to be something geeky. But yeah, if you're subscribing to this channel, you probably are already a bit geeky. So embrace that. Have a great week.
yeah.